Hi, guys, and welcome to another pretty exciting episode of Brewing e-commerce. And today is as niche as somebody can get in e-commerce, in my opinion. Right? Somebody who's carved out a brand from scratch. She represents the whole image of what she's building, and I think she does a wonderful job at it. And I've seen her in the past 2 years on LinkedIn and the other channels, how her journey has been, which is super impressive what she's achieved. So please, I'll welcome Anshita, and thank you so much for coming in. I'd like you to kind of start and introduce your brand, and then let's go dive into a lot of learnings that we'll have from you.
Right. Thank you so much, firstly, Shwetank. Happy to be here. So, Fix My Curls is a curly and wavy hair care brand. It's for all textured hair people. Um, so, as long as you have textured hair, you can use the products. But yeah, this is the base of the niche that we're in. And we don't cater to just any hair types. We cater to people who have wavy and curly hair. So, that's our focus, and I think it's brought us a really long way.
And from when you try to create a brand, you try to create a company, etc., it's one of the hardest things is to nail the problem statement, what you're trying to cater to. Then you have to go and figure out that how are you going to define the niche for
Right.
yourself. So I'd love to understand that. You have really nice curly hair, and my 6-year-old has curly hair, and there are so many other girls, women, ladies, and I know. So how did this whole thing happen, come about, as in when was the eureka moment for you?
So my eureka moment was when I was 19. I had come back from college, and I was actually studying in Canada. And when I'd gone to Canada initially, there were so many curly hair products already available. But then when I came back, I saw that there was nothing in India. And I actually really needed products for myself. So it was a very personal problem statement. I realized that nobody was selling products that were in an easy step by step format. Um, and there were no curly hair specific brands in the country. Then, the light bulb moment was really when I found a Facebook group. It's called Indian Curl Pride. And on this Facebook group, it was all just Indian men and women of all ages, just discussing curly hair. They were discussing their problem statement, trying to find products. And I think that really hit me because I realized, wow, my
Yeah.
target audience is right here. These are all people that are like me. So, is there something I can do about this? Thankfully, my parents were so supportive. They said, "Yes, we think you should do something about it." So they were the ones that really pushed me and said, like, don't like take this
Yeah.
seriously. Don't let this
Yeah.
opportunity pass you by. If you think that nobody is a player right now, become that player. So I really owe that push to them. But that light bulb moment was honestly, I was just browsing and looking for products, and it all happened so fast that it really clicked for me. And I think the problem statement makes the most sense to me because it's a personal one, and when it's a personal one, you really do feel like doing something about it.
Brilliant. And that is so true. I can resonate with that in a very different level, again, because our daughter has that kind of a thing, and I know my wife spent a lot of time researching what shampoo, what conditioner, how to do things, and it's a lot of effort and time. And I live in the UK, there are products available, but still you need to kind of cater to understand which will work for you, etc. It's not. And I 100% agree with you, is going on the path where you face that problem yourself, and then trying to go and create a solution for it. I think
Yeah.
nothing kind of beats that. For me, it's a similar thing, what why Kui came about. So that's why I kind of understand where you're coming from, and that's of course awesome. Moving forward, so you identified a
Yeah.
gap in the market, right? You connect with the problem. How was your 0 to 1 stage journey, right? Once you kind of understood that, hey, this is the sector and this is the product I need to go for. what was your thought process? Did you think of starting an online D2C brand straight away? Did you what went into the product development? What were your key challenges? Just a sneak peek of what was in your head that time, please.
So I'm going to tell you the first three things that I did. I had to make sure that my target market or my target customer base was actually ready to purchase product, that they were available, where they were purchasing product from. So I did a full research on my customer and made sure that what I was making was catered to that customer. So I knew that the product would sell. The second thing that I did was I had to make a choice. If I wanted a website, it would probably take months and months of development and a lot of hard work. But I wanted to sell the product now. Where could I sell it now? And I knew that a marketplace was the only option. At the time, Amazon was my option. So what I did was, of course, I created the company, I listed us on Amazon, and that was where the product was going to be sold. This was a decision that I made very early on, that I can only sell in one place. And what I'm going to focus on is selling, not anything else, not brand building, not marketing, not website development, just selling the product, because I needed proof of concept.
Yeah.
I needed proof in numbers. That was the second thing. The third and last thing was formulation. Formulation took 6 months. Once I sat on formulation, I knew that that would keep happening on the back end. And I think it was 6 months of research on the customer, the marketplace I had to sell on, and eventually the formulations were ready. And to give you, a little bit of backstory, with this point, my parents are actually within the skincare
Hmm.
space and they are manufacturers. So this is kind of where I had a
Hmm.
leg up. I had access to a manufacturing
Hmm.
facility, but of course, they had never
Fair,
made curly hair
fair.
products before, let alone
Yeah.
hair care products. So it was a completely new ball game for them and me. So I think formulations, honestly, Google is your best friend. Don't let anyone tell you that they don't know something, because they
Hmm.
can get to know things. It really just takes searching it up in Google and finding it out. I don't think that, I think mostly people make excuses. All the information is out there. I know that
uh,
100%
Absolutely.
myself, because I did all of my R&D on the internet. Yeah, I didn't have somebody sitting and teaching me these ingredients are the best for curly hair. No, I had to go read the backs of the labels of imported products. I had to obviously order all of those products, try them out, visit multiple brands that already exist outside of India and see what are they doing that I can try
Hmm.
to do
Hmm.
here. And I think that was the journey for the formulations. Was it was all on Google. So I think these were the three things that my complete focus on was for the first 6 months. And then after the first 6 months, COVID hit, and then the story really
Yeah, we'll
changes
come to
after
the
that.
COVID story later on, because that's a very important question. I'm asking a lot of brands. A lot of them are struggling because I think the strategy didn't
Yes.
go in the right place. But we'll come to that. Uh, I think what you said again, if I have to summarize it from a layman's perspective, right? Your product needs to get out there because it will continue
Yeah.
to improve. But you need to find one channel, focus on Amazon, which you did, I think, which
Yes.
is perfect. Get those early feedbacks and try to get those improvements done, etc., etc. And I 1000% agree with you. Google is the best place. People can go and figure anything to everything out there. Most of them kind of find reason excuses. And then your experience of using those products and the whole Canada exposure kind of gelled in all together to create a product. So you launched with how many SKUs? Did you do like one, or
Yes.
you had multiple when you started?
I
Okay.
had 6 SKUs to start with. So I sold, the top SKU that I was kind of pushing to everyone was our 5 step kit. And then the next 5 SKUs were
In
just
short.
that
Okay.
5 step kit in
Yeah.
individual,
Clever.
all the individual products basically. So, and I did one size, I did our largest size first, which I think initially was probably the biggest mistake I made, because
Sure.
I should have started with a smaller size. But again, this is exactly what happens when
Yeah.
you put the product out early enough.
Yeah.
You also
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
great feedback.
And what? How? how did you capture the feedback? That's a very, very important part of the whole customer journey, which kind of goes missing. You develop products, you sold them on Amazon, then did you reach out to them? How did that work?
So I was customer care. I was the marketing manager. I was the photographer. I was the graphic designer. When you're handling everything end to end and you're looking so closely at
Yeah.
every single order being received, you remember the customer. You remember to email them. You remember to ask them. So I just think I had a very, very close approach to my customers. Of course, I wanted to make money, but I also knew that those initial whatever 50 orders, those 50 people were so key in making sure that either those 50 would come
Sure,
back or
sure.
another 50 would come from somewhere. Because I was not running
Yeah.
ads. I had no budget for ads. I had no budget for an agency or photo shoots, nothing. And I've touched upon this many times when people ask me. I really had no budget. My budget was the initial inventory that my
Hmm.
parents had actually given
Yeah.
me and said, you need to sell this at a good margin and you need to make
Yeah.
money because you have to pay us back. And I said, yes, I know I have to pay you back and I have to work this out. So currently, my choice
Hmm.
was do everything on your own, and therefore every customer counted a lot. So I would take feedback on Instagram and email, very easy. I would usually send them a follow-up
Nice.
DM if I knew they were using the product. I would take their feedback so seriously that, for so many
Hmm.
of them, I had sent them free products
Yeah.
after them telling me that, oh, the fragrance is too strong, or I don't like how thick
Sure.
it is. Can you make the product a little thinner? All of the changes, whenever the product was
Nice.
changed, I would notify these people. So, and some of those
Yeah.
customers, I mean, a lot of them are still with us from 4 years back. And I know that, um, they know because they were there for that time
Hmm.
when I used to be able to talk to all of them. So this was
Yeah,
my
this
approach.
customer feedback loop that you kind of bring in the product development, in communication and marketing, is so critical for most of the brands. um, like I'll give you an example. Right, we're working with a
Yeah.
very large brand. They are a textile e-commerce marketplace, and a customer wrote a review on their website was, I order a lot from you guys, but I don't get incentivized at all. Right? And then it was such a nice
Hmm.
use case. Then we kind of used our platform to come up with those use case to understand how many purchases and logged in, non-logged in, etc., those kind of things. But and then they understood that, hey, you know what, let's try to find out our top set of customers who order x amount of money in x amount of days, and let's kind of run something for them. Because you gotta keep on listening. What you don't see is these guys talk. The virality of this customer giving you a good feedback is completely, you cannot measure it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And I think it's also extremely important to
Yeah.
remember the people that you work with initially. So a customer is a customer, yes, but even
Yeah.
influencers can become
Yeah.
customers, affiliates can become customers. You have to maintain that relationship. So, yeah, the feedback loop is, of course, important, but I think people get very caught up in trying to, I don't know. I think they try to
Hmm.
make it extremely data driven, which I believe in the initial phase of a
Shouldn't
of
be.
a
Yeah.
product, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be data driven. It has to be driven
Yeah.
by the problem statement, by
Yeah.
actually talking to the customer. Um, at that point, it's so early that you can't, just send them a follow up 20% discount. No, it has
Yeah.
to be about a lot of other things. You have to build a close relationship with who they are. um, and a lot of people may not want to do this because they are too busy scaling. But if you can build this foundation with a certain set of customers, they will never leave the brand, despite other brands coming in. And I think that is something I think a few people do miss.
Anjita, I have to say this, at this age, and you're far more younger than me, you can't see my all gray hair because of the camera angles, purposely done like that. uh, I love the conviction that you're talking about. I love the way you talk about with that confidence and certainty, because I think you've been through the struggles, you've gone through the battle there. And that is something nobody
Yeah.
can teach you. It's only your experience that kind of brings you in here. My leading question, yeah, yeah, please go on. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
No,
No, my
no, no.
leading question
You
here
can
is
continue.
yesterday,
Yes.
I was watching a video about a very large VC trying to talk about that the younger founders who are starting up for the first time, or very or not that experience, like 20 years experience in the industry, etc. A lot of times when they are fundraising, when they have this cool idea, they go to VCs. And because VCs are those guys who've been there, done that, right? They've seen economic downturns and environment changing, etc. And most of the time what happens is these guys with a very niche cool knowledge, very good in what they are doing, they feel very overwhelmed while sitting with these VCs. And they come back saying, you know what, no, the VC knows it all. I am just like a skewed picture. I'd love and you're the perfect profile of that person which has gone to the VCs, also raised money, and doing very well. So how was your journey? Because I think this is a very very important lesson for a lot of guys in D2C today.
So I've actually not raised money.
Wow,
We're
okay,
still
super impressive.
bootstrapped. Um, Yes, so
Hmm.
we have gone to VCs though. I'm totally cool talking about the number of rejections we've gotten from VCs because I think it's taught us a lot. It's taught me and my team a lot about the
Hmm.
things that perhaps we need to work on, and also that VCs aren't for everybody. So this was not something that anyone tells you. When you're a startup founder, it seems like if you can't bag a VC, then you're doing something wrong. But that's not true. Not every single product
Yeah,
can fit the needs of a VC, especially
yeah,
when you're a very young startup. Sometimes the product market fit is there,
yeah,
but it's there for a smaller pool of consumers, and VCs often need a very, very large established market to put
yeah,
money in quickly. So
yeah,
when that market is not established, you really have to prove yourself. Even if you've done like whatever amount of sales, I
yeah,
think still they need more proof of concept, more proof of concept. So when you're a niche, you have to keep in mind just because a VC is rejecting you, it doesn't mean that your niche isn't worthy
yeah,
of being invested in. It's definitely worthy. It will just take time. It may take
yeah,
longer than the usual startup, but that's what happens when you target a niche, right? It's a niche proposition, which means the consumer base is probably small. So I would probably give this advice to somebody that is going to a VC. First, know,
hmm,
is your TAM big enough for them? If you're going with a smaller TAM,
hmm,
expect that most of them will say no to you, especially considering we're far past that startup
yeah, yeah,
VC boom. It's over now. Now, today, you actually need numbers, you need profitability
yeah,
to hold your ground. I think second thing for anyone looking to go to a VC is genuinely take
hmm,
their feedback very seriously. Don't be hurt. I used to initially feel very emotional about the things that they would tell me. I would take it personally. But trust me, everything they're telling you can make your brand a much better brand. But not, I think most people don't realize it in the beginning. And yeah, try to
yeah,
walk away asking them a lot of questions. I know that it seems very daunting and you want to
yeah.
pitch and get the pitch perfect, and the VC should love you and ask for your
True.
MIS the next day. But it doesn't happen that way. What you can do instead, if you're feeling that the conversation is dying, the VC is not that
Yeah,
interested, do this: ask them questions. Get as much out of them as they can. After all, if they do have 10 years of experience, 20 years of experience, take something from that, and if anything, it will help your startup
love it.
get better.
You explained it so amazingly well. I think this is gold nugget for anybody in D2C, and especially in the environment and market today. After this podcast,
Yeah.
not in front of everybody, we'll exchange notes on how many rejections we faced. Okay, so
Yeah, 100%. I've put it on
okay,
my LinkedIn previously that I've been rejected by almost 20
okay,
plus
yeah,
VCs.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not afraid to say that, but that also
sure,
shows I've
yeah,
spoken to 20
yeah,
VCs.
Yeah,
Learned
and you're
so
so
much,
right,
learned
right?
so
The first
much.
initial, like, I've been in the journey for Kui for about 3 years now, and first 3 years,
Yeah.
the first 1 year where was I couldn't read what they are trying to tell me. Like, some of them came back to me and they said, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
one
can't.
guy I remember, very nice guy, spoke very nicely, and he said, maybe what you're working with is not good enough, big enough for me. And I'm like, what do you even mean, right? Which is exactly what you spoke
Mm,
of. And then there was another guy who said that, if you
yeah.
can't make 100 million in 5 years, then I'm not wasting my time. And I'm like, what's wrong with this guy, kind of a thing, right? But uh, but now I
Yeah.
understand where they're coming from. And there's just one bit that I'd like to add there, Anshita, is a lot of rejections happens for reasons that we don't know, because we don't fit in their ethos. it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not something wrong with
100%.
us. It's not that our
Yeah.
product is not good or the platform is not good, etc. It's just that we don't fit in their profile, and that's what it is. But like, you are a perfect example. Everybody needs to keep on going, and you just follow your gut, and hopefully things will fall into place.
Yeah, they often do. And from a personal experience, if someone is out there that might watch this and is thinking, oh, I'm so tired of looking for funding money, I'm not finding it, it's not happening, I would really recommend, because it's happened to me. I was so close to
Mm.
closing around. It didn't close. And at the
Yeah,
time, I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
so upset, so angry. But then I remember I sat with my team weeks after, when things had cooled down, to understand
Mm.
what is wrong with us right now. And this isn't to say something has to be wrong with you, but at the time, there were things that was wrong with our business, the model, the base that we had built. There were a few tweaks we had to make, and honestly, it would have improved everything. And if not for their rejection, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we realized so many things, we fixed so much, only after they rejected us, because it
Yeah,
causes you to actually
yeah,
look at your foundation, the basic building blocks of your startup. Because oftentimes when you're
yeah,
talking to VCs, you're
yeah,
talking 5 years ahead,
yeah.
2 year business plan, 5 year business plan.
Mm.
Look back first, see all of the mistakes that you've made. What can you do with what you have learned from them? Because I think you will be in a much better position to go
Okay,
to a VC
to all
after
you
that.
D2C guys out there, that's gold nugget, right? So you gotta keep it in. I keep on using gold nuggets a lot in my podcast, because these are such valuable insights that usually come with a lot of time, money, and resources, and a founder has none of these, right? So they kind of really need to understand which baskets to pick and what to do. So perfect. In your journey,
Yeah.
you've had a very niche sector, in terms of customer. Your product is developed, you have initial feedback, you launch on Amazon, get, etc. So now let's fast forward like 2 years. Okay, so we're talking about now one big debate that keeps on happening in the industry, and again, your thoughts will be really nice to know, is acquisition versus retention. At the stage that you are in, how do you classify in terms, right? If you had, say, 100 rupees to spend, would you how would you split that, and what's your approach to both of it?
So again, I'm going to say there's always two sides to a coin, right? A, are you in a position where you need to scale, where you have already focused enough on retargeting efforts, but your pool isn't big enough? That is when you focus on acquisition. However, other side of the coin, if you feel like you've been scaling, but retention just kind of isn't there, that probably means you need to be talking to your customers. Something is wrong. Why are they not sticky to the brand? There's two sides of it. I think it's very different depending on the brand, depending on the product. Some brands can take a 70-30 approach, where 70% of their campaigns are acquiring new customers and 30% are retargeting old customers, especially during events, sales, or just, special occasions. I think that is the approach we take. We focus most of our time on acquiring new customers. because, and I'm only talking from a very D2C website perspective, I'm not speaking about
Makes
marketplaces,
sense, and I
but from
agree.
a
It depends on the
website
product that you're
perspective,
selling. It depends on the
we
stage of the
focus on
brand you
acquiring
are.
more and
How
more
big brand
customers
you
and
are.
making
People
our
know
pool
you or
as
not,
large as
etc.
we can,
That
because
that kind of
out
goes
of this
in.
pool very few people will be sticky to the website. Most of them will jump ship and move to a marketplace and then
Hmm.
repurchase your product from that marketplace.
Sure.
But in order to organically increase all of your marketplace sales, you do need one pool to be big enough with first time
Hmm.
acquisitions.
Hmm.
So we make that our website. So that 100 rupees for me,
Hmm.
70 rupees out of that will go into a campaign that
Hmm.
is targeting first time users,
Yeah.
right? Then that other 30 rupees I'll probably plug into a discount with which I'll send a WhatsApp to all of my old customers, retargeting them.
Once a month. Yeah.
But even your old customers, I just feel today the metric that you
So
have on your
if
website is
if I
not
hear
good
you,
enough
and if
because
I
you
have
there
to
is so
ask you a
much missing
question
data,
there,
there are so many
I'm going to
gaps.
make a statement
So
here,
I would
Anshita, and tell
urge,
me, do you
don't make
agree
a
or
decision
disagree with it?
solely
The
based
statement
on the
says that
statistics you have on your
97%
website.
of
There
visitors
is
on your
so much
website are
data that
not
is
ready to buy.
floating on all the other
Is that
marketplaces
true
you're on.
or
And
untrue?
this is if you are widespread, right? If suppose you have one website where you collect all your data and that's where all your customers are, then you probably don't have to follow this approach, um, because then you really have all the data to look at. But for example, for us, and I know many other skincare, hair care, makeup brands, or anyone in personal care, basically, they're so spread out that they don't
Hmm.
actually know how many repeats they have, what the retention is like. You have a very small view into how it might be.
Yeah.
So I think, since you can't get access to a lot of that third party data, do your best to always have a safety net. That safety net should be retargeting your older customers, and then the main efforts should probably go into acquiring new ones.
Are you serious? 5 to 6% conversion rate is what you get on your Shopify store.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
We used to retarget a lot
So
because we
yeah,
knew that word of mouth is going to be very important for us and we need our loyal customers to be loyal. But after a certain point we realized that, the market is not small. We just aren't reaching everybody right now. We've been so heavily focused on our loyal community that we forgot that there are still so many people we can
yeah,
convert
yeah,
and make the community bigger. And your efforts aren't forgotten by a customer, not necessarily, and you don't have
yeah.
to make that effort every week. You can still
Hmm.
make a retargeting effort once a month, and that loyal customer will most likely come back if it's good enough.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, of course.
I
Yeah.
think that
You need to
is
lose money
true.
because you need to experiment.
Um,
You need to, do those A/B testings and figure
Considering
out what works, and what
there is a
works also
certain
will not
bounce
work
rate,
always, right?
there
It works
is
because
also
you need to keep on
a
innovating.
large
Customers coming
number of
back need to
people
see that there is
that
something new happening on the
will be
website as well.
redirected to you
But
from
again,
multiple
kudos to you and
places.
the team,
Not
Anshita,
all of
here,
them are
because
going to be willing to
we
convert.
work with brands
But
globally,
again, you don't
but
know that
if you
they
look at just
won't
the
convert
Indian
now. They
Shopify
could
scene,
convert the next month.
I think
Again,
the
that
maximum
is what
conversion that we've seen
abandoned carts
around
are for,
people is
right?
again
If you can
1.7
convert those
to
abandoned
2.2,
carts, then some
2.5.
of those people that didn't initially convert are converting later.
Anybody, yeah, yeah,
But
that's what
that
I'm
that
telling
would
you.
be true,
Like
right?
I was
Because,
on a
like, for
call with,
example, for
again,
us, our
one
conversion
Shark
on our
Tank
website
brand
is
kind of,
probably
guy,
between
and he
five
told me
six
that they
percent
were on a
something like that.
3.5% conversion, and he was very
um
happy about it,
and
very proud. And I was like, yes, I am proud as well, because 3.5 is not easy to achieve,
yes,
right?
right now
And
it's
because when
something
I
like
looked at
that.
their website, yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's only insane now, and i'll
yeah,
i'll tell you why. And I'm sure a lot of
yeah,
beauty and personal care
yeah,
founders probably have caught on to this. But
Yeah, which
It's
and I can
simply
kind of,
the campaign strategy that you're
understand why
following,
it's
and it's
coming,
only going
because
to
when I look
work
at
for
your
first
website,
time
and I was
user
doing my homework as
conversions.
well,
But
before getting on a
you
call
have
with
to
you,
have your
is
hooks
to
in
just make sure
place.
that
So any
you
campaigns you're
have those
running,
so-called hooks
if
in
your
place.
hooks
You have
aren't
the
in
founder
place, and
story,
if you had
you have the
figured out
social
what the
proof,
hook
you have
is for
the,
your
best
customer,
seller section.
then of course
You're
your
trying to
conversions are always
tell
going to be low. But
people different
we've
things
seen
that they
really we've
kind
seen
of
those
take into
conversions
account to
because
decide to buy,
I think we figured out
which
that
is something
first
close
time
to
user
what we
strategy,
do
how to
at
just
TUI, right?
get them to
We kind
buy
of
that one product.
understand where
And
the
because we've also realized
visitor
that
is
our
in their
customer
buying
wants
journey, and
one
then
product,
engage with
not
them
five.
accordingly. Not give a
This was
20%
something
off
that took
coupon
me
to
three
everybody,
years to
because that's
realize. So
annoying at
trust
the end
me,
of it,
I have seen
right?
1% conversion, 2% conversions. Matlab, it's been bad. So to get to this good place has taken losing a lot of money to be able to make
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It is this, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay, I need to, cut this 30 seconds clip and like send it to every e-commerce guy, because they really need to hear this. No, honestly, yeah, no, because we as a D2C enabler, we go and tell brands that, hey, don't give discounts,
So we've
give lesser discounts, and they look at us like, you know what, my
yeah,
monthly
we've had
KPI
an
is going to get
average of
affected, my sales are going to
4%.
go
I
down,
just
who's
checked.
going to
It's
be
an average of
accountable?
4. And usually
You
on
might
our
take a short-term
good
hit,
days,
but
like
at
the
the end you have to
weekends,
build a brand for
it can
longer
go up to
time, you have to
5%.
invest in a
But
strategy,
an
right? and
average of
and then
4
that's
is
what
our
pays off
conversion on the
multiple
website.
times, and that's exactly what we do. Wow, okay, this is, yeah, I'm just feeling very happy, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah,
I, I talk about this to a lot of people as well. Discounting is not necessary. If it's the one thing I can tell someone, if you're having to discount heavily, then your product is not good. It is not the customer that is a problem.
yeah,
It is your product. Either you aren't advertising it well, or
yeah,
people simply don't like it. So you need to work on the
yeah,
formulation. But if you're having to shell out 30-40% discounts on a monthly basis,
indeed.
something is
Mm.
very wrong with the product itself. Because a good product at a 15% discount can really push the person to make that choice. But a bad product with even 40%, you'll have to run that 40% for a month.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I always say that, margins are the holy grail of e-commerce,
Ooh.
and people just go ahead and give it out so nicely, and yeah. Right. So I have two last questions. While I know I'm exceeding my time with you, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. So let me make the most of it.
Right,
The first one goes to
right,
say that
right.
in India,
Yeah,
especially
100%.
with Shark Tank and with other things, I think there is a
The
huge rush in the market of people
margin
trying to
and the
find out
margin
D2C products, create them, and then
the
launch them in the
margins
market.
that you lose, and trust me,
Um,
this is coming from
some
someone
I
who
read a
used to
report,
give
and I don't know if
30,
it's true or
thirty-five
not, but
percent 35
it
was the
said that
max we used
about
to give. But
50
I have given those
D2C brands
discounts
are
a year
launched
and
in
a half
India
ago.
every day,
But I realized that my
right?
margins are taking
And
such a heavy
yeah,
hit, and that money could have been in
yeah,
my bank account.
and
But
and again,
instead,
that,
I gave
yeah,
it away
again,
to
it
customers that
cannot be right,
probably aren't interested,
somehow doesn't
or
seem digestible
they
to me,
have a problem with the
but
product.
might
So
be.
if my
And
product is the
90% of them
problem,
will not survive
then maybe
because
it's we need to go
they spend
inward and
money to
fix
bring
it. And then
customers
I
on the
think there is
website and unable to convert and
another
engage with them, right? So
section
that's
to this.
the
There's
sad part of the story,
there's
however.
nuance to this as
So
well.
if somebody
You are getting
had
the
to
customer
start a
used to
brand today,
discounts, right? You
right?
are not a
What were the
marketplace.
top
Your
three tips that you would
D2C website is not
give
meant
them
to
as
be
advice for
Amazon
them to take
or
care of
Nika,
to
right?
in their
You
0 to
can't
1
give
stage?
multiple discounts and freebies and cart offers, not all the time. You have to make it so that your website in itself is the hook that causes them to check out, right? Otherwise you will rely on discounting very highly to get somebody into your funnel, which I have learned the hard way is the worst thing you can do, because then your customer, when they come that second or third time, they will expect that large discount, right?
Okay.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fair. Yeah, yeah. 0 to 1 stage, and then yeah, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Mm,
that. I didn't know that.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
So if you were to start a brand today, I think the top three things that I would say are very important to
Mm-hmm.
focus on. Number one, make sure that your organic strategy is organic. So, a lot of
Mm.
people will use ads or boost their Instagram posts to get likes and comments. But I think that if you focus on informative short form content, people will enjoy it and people will engage with it, and those same people can convert and become customers eventually. So
Excellent.
that would be
Again,
my
organic
first tip,
strategy. Don't
right?
focus on
This
paid.
is this is
Try to do it
content doesn't
organically.
have to
Yeah.
be right. So second thing would be, don't
Exactly.
immediately run to an agency or sign on a branding, marketing, analytics agency. Do not do it. If you have just started, look at your analytics on your own.
Mm.
At the most, you can set up most of your accounts yourself. And I'm giving this advice
Yeah.
to someone who I think has no
Yeah.
budget right now, right? They are investing their own money. Yeah. If you're investing your own money,
Absolutely.
learn what it is you will make those
Absolutely. Yeah.
branding agencies do for you. If
Yeah.
you don't know it, then they can definitely
Mm.
take you for a run and make a fool out of you. I say this with a lot of regrets, that I wish I had also done my research on some of the things I trusted someone else to do for me. So yeah, my second point would
Yeah.
be that make the most use out of Google, do your research, and don't run or rush to hire people to do the work for you. That would be the second thing, because you'll save money. If you can
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you can save some money. Third thing, and this is for all of the personal care brands or people selling a product, not necessarily a service, because I think my niche is more in selling product. The third and last thing would
Yeah.
be, build relationships with category managers.
Yeah. No. No.
I say
Yeah.
this
Um,
because we
this
have
is
learned that over
really,
the
really
years,
nice.
it's
I
really the
now I'm trying to
people
think.
that will
how
help
can
you
we get
out
this
in
message
the
out to more
end.
and more guys? Because
And by that I mean
it
that if you
just,
have a
I
category
can just connect
manager,
with it
for
because I
example, on Amazon,
drink,
on
eat, sleep
Nika,
B2C. At
on
the end of
any
it, I speak to
marketplace that
multiple
you
guys,
choose
but
to enlist
not
yourself,
everybody
create a great
speaks
working
to people
relationship
like
with
this.
them,
You
because
don't
when you're
get
a
forums
small
where
brand,
you can
they
get
will
just
be
this
the
canned
ones
in
to give you
heart out
tips and tricks. They will be the
information and then
ones
instantly
who
connect with
help
it.
you
Because
scale.
most of
I
what
have
you
seen
said,
this
I could
personally.
connect that even for
You don't
when we
need an
started our
agency
journey.
if you have them. They are the
So many
agency. They
guys
already
came
have
in
a
to
wealth of
help because
knowledge,
they said,
because
we can
they
do this for
deal
you
with
just because we see you
hundreds
are
of D2C
passionate and can we
brands
contribute in
over
some
a
way. No
spectrum of
money, no
whatever four
nothing.
5 years they've been with the
They're just
platform,
being
right?
there.
I
Excellent.
think
Now
if
is the
you
most exciting
can
part.
build a good relationship with them,
This is the
they will
question I
help the brand.
always wait to ask everyone. So here it goes. You have to tell the community
Yeah,
one
so none
thing
of this
that you've never told anybody.
none of this has anything to do with
It has
spending
to be a
money,
fun fact,
because
it has to
I
be a
think that
secret, it has to be
when
something that you've
when
never
you're
told
starting
anybody about
out,
yourself.
your aim should not be to spend the most to get the most. It should be, what can I do that costs me zero? What can I do that really costs me nothing? And trust me, um
That's the fun part.
somebody telling me ki, oh, I'm not a photographer, I don't know graphic design, I don't know this. You probably have friends, though. You probably have people in your network and community. If you don't, you get out there, because a lot of people, if you're passionate, they will be willing to help you initially for no money. A lot of people will help you. It takes nothing for someone to make 5 posts to start your feed.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
that starting point can be free. I just think a lot of people start and they'll get a huge agency, and they'll have this monthly retainer that they can't handle.
Hmm.
And then suddenly they are already behind on their
Yeah,
cash flow. So I think avoid those things, make money first. You can do everything else later. And also, like you said, uh, I think if you're not looking at it
yeah,
as a decade long journey, then you're probably in the wrong sector, because personal care and D2C is dangerous. So many brands
yeah,
die out within the first whatever 1 2 years. So make the focus to build a very strong foundation, because you want to
yeah.
survive. You're not here to just play the game and run the race, right?
Mm. Sure.
Yeah.
But that speaks of the passion. That speaks of what you are trying to solve, which is again very personal, but also what you've done is commendable. Anshita,
Right.
thank you so much. No, seriously, I think doing something doing something well and trying to do it really well has very different pillars, right? and uh, and
Yeah.
with the whole micro environment changing in the past 2 years, there have been challenges from multiple multitudes, I would
Exactly.
say. But trying to figure out a
Yeah.
niche and doing it something what you're doing and building it very organically takes a lot. uh, Again, cheers to you and the team. I
Okay.
hope you continue doing it well. Next time when I'm in India, I'm definitely going to try some of your products for my daughter as well, so you will have another customer giving you feedback. Oh, they are? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please do that.
um
Absolutely. We will go ahead and do that. And for everybody listening,
I'm at a
guys,
loss for words.
this
I didn't
this
know that.
has brought us a lot of
I had to
valuable
tell a
things
secret.
that,
Okay.
maybe some of it is
Um,
available in Google as
wow,
well.
I'm trying to
But the
think
way
of
Anshita put,
something,
based on her
but
life experience, will save you a lot of heartache.
I
So
haven't
listen
told
to her.
people this,
Try and
but
adapt even two things. Yeah, I hope so
I
too, because that's the whole objective.
used to, I mean,
And
actually, I think this is
even
a little
it'll save you a
sad,
lot
but
of time,
like
money, heartache,
initially,
and issues.
um,
So again,
I
thank you so
used
much for
to talk to
letting
customers
giving me the
myself,
opportunity
right?
to host you, and
So
all the best.
for
And
for the
now that I've
first
enjoyed
couple
this
of
conversation so
weeks,
much,
months,
you
I
will
remember
be
I
recalled
used
again in
to
a few months back to
cry a
tell us
lot
all the exciting things that you guys are
when
working
reading
on.
their messages. I used to get very emotional at positive feedback
Got
and
it. Thank
negative
you.
feedback. I haven't told anyone this because it
All right.
probably sounds crazy, but um, it it really meant too much to me. I was so attached to the idea. Of course, now I'm slightly less attached because I learned that I can't cry every time someone says that this brand has changed my life. But yeah, I used to just start crying, and the thing is, I used to talk to customers 24/7. And I really mean that. I remember talking to customers at 1 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Anytime I opened my phone, I would respond. So I was very attached. But yeah, this is something I haven't shared publicly, like ever. But yeah, I used to cry a lot. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. They're available in the UK. So I'll send you a link after this. Yes. I hope so. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vedant. Thanks.